Joining us today for what is indeed a very important conversation. Throughout the past year, I have heard many times from my small businesses across all multiple industries about significant delays and problems that they are having with supply chains, specifically as how that relates to ocean shipping. And the bottom line is this: small businesses and families throughout Michigan, as well as all across the country, are experiencing higher prices and major delays associated with importing and exporting their products and their supplies. The ocean shipping network, which is responsible for 90% of the global trade, has gone from being a system that was both fast and cost-effective to one plagued by delays and exorbitant pricing practices. Certainly many factors have contributed to this shift, but one major cause has been the global economy's uneven recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting supply chain collapses that have resulted from that. In short, our supply chains can be very efficient, but they are not resilient. This is an issue that I'm committed to improving and addressing. Back in 2019, through my role as Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, as ranking member at that time, I released a report on the rising cost of prescription drugs, and one of the takeaways from that report was that in a major event such as a pandemic, our supply chains were not going to be prepared to deal with it. And sure enough, when the pandemic hit, we had major shortages of personal protection equipment and other kinds of medical supplies because of our over-reliance on foreign suppliers. And right now, we're having an ongoing semiconductor chip shortage that's hurting our auto workers and our auto manufacturers. These shortages and disruptions pose not only a threat to our national security, but also have devastating impacts on Michiganders, their families, businesses, and workers all across the country. For instance, automakers and their suppliers have consistently encountered skyrocketing penalties and fees charged by ocean shippers. Combined with heightened volatility around ocean shipping logistics, these conditions have actually diminished auto production. There are examples of ocean carriers not fulfilling their commitment to move the product of small and medium-sized businesses. Retailers have had to pay 6 to 10 times the standard amount in shipping cost in order to get products to their stores and on their shelves. And even then, they've seen contract brokers decline to honor those agreed upon amounts. Members of the agriculture industry have seen their orders routinely get rolled, oftentimes only after learning they've already incurred substantial demurrage fees. And these are just a few of the many, many examples that I could talk about. I certainly applaud the Biden administration's swift efforts to counter some of these challenges, whether it's been multiple executive orders empowering the Federal Maritime Commission working with major ports. President Biden has taken important and necessary steps to better secure our ocean shipping supply chains against vulnerabilities. We have already begun to see some positive results of these efforts. Just last week, the CEOs of major retailers told President Biden that supply chain conditions have begun to show some signs of improvement. Additionally, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act will help ease inflationary pressures and strengthen supply chains by making long overdue investments in our nation's ports, airports, rails, and roads. And the Build Back Better Act will take many steps to lower costs for families. The Senate Commerce Committee has also addressed this issue from multiple angles in recent months, from a freight mobility supply chain hearing that I chaired through this subcommittee in May, to a full committee hearing held in July that focused on implementing supply chain resiliency. The multifaceted challenges facing our supply chains are going to require, however, a holistic response from all sectors, including from ports, where I believe the Great Lakes ports can play a significant part in reducing backlogs. Ports in Michigan and across the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway system are ready-made relief valves that are currently underutilized. And as we explore solutions to strengthen our shipping and supply chains, we must be sure to look to the Great Lakes, our nation's, I would say our nation's best coast, to help fill in the gaps when possible. Additionally, there are roles for both the federal government and private industry to play in alleviating our supply chain pressures and challenges. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses here today about the practices they have found to be successful in addressing supply chain challenges associated with ocean shipping and where gaps continue to plague logistics. I'd now like to invite Ranking Member Fisher to share her opening remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Peters, and thank you for holding this hearing on ocean shipping